What? Leave me alone, Steve, or I'll tell Mom on you. Mom's in the kitchen, and if you bug me, I'll call her.
Look, do you know me?
Wish I didn't, 'cause then you wouldn't be my brother, and I'd have your room, and all the presents at Christmas. Though I will soon enough anyway, 'cause you're a lousy rat.
You're my brother?
No, duh.
Listen, I don't mean to, bug you, but I can't seem to remember anything. Will you please just tell me who you are?
Mom, Steve is bugging me.
Steve, leave Hank alone right now.
Steve, are you talking to me?
Yeah, only I don't want to be, 'cause I'm trying to watch my cowboy show.
I'm sorry. Look, I'm telling you, I need your help. I've lost my memory. I'm telling you the truth.
You always were a kidder, Steve. Leave me alone. I'm sick.
What's wrong with you?
I got a headache and a stomachache.
Then why aren't you in bed?
'Cause I want to watch my cowboy show.
You look all right to me.
I'm not faking. I couldn't go to school because I'm sick. Daddy's sick in bed too. And Mom believes me anyway. So shut up.
Your dad is asleep?
He and Mom went at it last night pretty hard. He stayed in bed. I saw what she did to him. It was pretty bad.
What did she...
Like you don't know. I saw you and her on the couch last Wednesday night. Guess that's why she's grounded now, huh? Too bad you wouldn't pay me and I had to tell, huh?
What are you talking about? What girl?
What? Is there another one too? Wait till I tell.
I don't know what girl you're talking about.
All summer, it's been Stephanie this and Stephanie that. And now you don't remember? You think I'm dumb or something?
No, I just can't remember anything, like I said.
Well, you better remember quick, 'cause the wedding's in 2 weeks.
What?
Leave me alone so I can watch TV.
That's a weird-looking television. Come to think of it, this whole place looks totally retro.
What do you mean, retro? All TVs look alike.
Sure, basically. But this is one old-fashioned clunker.
Old-fashioned? It's brand new.
Yeah, but look at the tube. Where's the remote control?
What's that?
Now that I think about it, I can't remember.
And what was that you said about retro rockets?
No, retro. It means... Oh man, I know what I mean. That everything here is wrong. But I can't picture the difference.
Then shut up and quit bugging me. I'm watching my cowboy show.
Have you noticed that your show is in black and white?
What else? Color? On a TV?
Well, I think I've seen a colored television before.
Have not. Quit it or I'm gonna tell.
Hey, look at that. Your mother lets you watch this stuff?
Sure. This is part of history. What made America great. And besides, blood and guts are needed. I'm glad you're catching on, Steve. You're not too bad. Or a lousy rat. Good. Finally.
Well, hello there. How about some cookies? There's plenty of rejects in the trash.
Who are you?
That's a fine way to talk to your mother.
You're my mother?
That's right. Though sometimes I get treated like the hired help around here.
I don't remember you.
Of course you don't. Until you need your socks washed.
No, you don't understand. I can't remember where I am or even who I am.
Land's sake, stop your joshing, won't you? Honestly, Steve, I thought you'd grow up a little after graduation. I only hope that new job will plant your feet on the ground.
So that's my name.
Your name will be M.U.D. Mud if you don't stop teasing me, young man.
Listen, this may sound strange, but I've lost my memory. Do you believe me?
Well, you always were a kidder, Steve.
I'm serious.
Sure, and next you'll be telling me you don't remember Hank and your little sister.
Sister?
Shh, you'll wake her. I just put her down to sleep. If she wakes up, she'll just want to eat again. Darn it, I'm busy, and if you think I'm going to play along with this nonsense, you're crazier than Sparky down at the firehouse.
Fine. Maybe I am crazy. I can't rule that out. Why can't you just help me a little? Is that too much to ask?
Now you've done it. Are you happy? Poor baby. There. Did your brother scare you? Let me see. Darn that wasp woman. She's a monster, that's what she is.
Who's Sparky?
Who cares about that prancing, fire hydrant squatting sissy boy right now? Your sister's eaten a tarantula and you're still fooling around.
If she's my sister.
Enough! Go bother Hank or Stephanie, why don't you? I'm trying to bake cookies.
Wasp?
Tetsuya Crumb is going to hear about this. I want you to go to her house right now and give her a piece of my mind.
I don't know where she lives.
Honestly, you can't miss a house covered with paper nests. Steve, you tell her to mind her own beeswax or by golly, I'll take it up with the PTA. Or the lodge.
What lodge?
The Hall of the Order of the Harvest Moon, Steve. It's just the finest place in Harvest, and the most exclusive.
What's so great about it?
Hard to say, since hardly anyone gets inside. But it wouldn't be so exclusive if it wasn't just wonderful. Just like the new Reynolds dishwasher with their patented auto-dry process, TM. I've never used one, but I know I want it. Instead of sulking around the house all day, why not walk over to the lodge and apply for membership? That's wonderful, Steve. If you got into the lodge, you'd be the talk of Harvest. Harvest is a town unlike any you've ever known.
In what way?
I don't have time to go into it now. Why not take a walk around town and pester someone else? I'm busy.
Hank? That kid over by the television?
Your little brother is homesick from school today, and I won't have you scaring him with this amnesia poop.
Is he really sick?
Look at the show he's watching. Wouldn't you say he's sick? I'd make him stop, but oh, I'm so busy baking cookies for the Harvest PTA Charity Bake Sale. It's on Friday, you know. I hope you're still planning on going.
I don't know. I need to think.
Honestly, skipping out of a charity affair. What's gotten into you?
I don't know, damn it! That's what I'm telling you!
Don't you dare use that language around me. You're lucky your father didn't hear you. Or Stephanie, for that matter. How do you think she'd feel knowing her fiancé was a gutter?
My father.
He's in the other room. He decided to sleep in today. Now please, let me get back to my cookies.
The bake sale is on Friday, and yet you're baking the cookies now.
Never put off till tomorrow what you can do today.
But they'll be stale by then.
That's why I'm throwing them away.
And then cooking more?
To replace the ones I throw out.
Why?
Well, I have to. No one's going to pay to eat stale cookies out of the garbage can.
But you expect me to.
Of course not, Steve. I wouldn't charge you. I'm your mother. Help yourself.
And just who is Stephanie?
Don't you dare toy with that sweet girl. If you start in on her with all this amnesia poop, she'll think her fiancé is having second thoughts about the wedding.
Fiancé? This is insane!
Oh, you're not having second thoughts about marrying Stephanie. Is that what this silliness is all about? Pre-wedding jitters?
Can something like that produce amnesia?
Stop this foolishness right now and count your blessings. Stephanie is great at cooking and cleaning.
What's cooking and cleaning got to do with anything?
Honestly, boys are so dense. What else is there for a wife but cooking and cleaning? You may not appreciate a hot meal on a clean plate when it's there, but if it wasn't, we'd hear about it soon enough, I'll bet.
You're saying that's all there is to marriage? Cooking and cleaning?
Well, you'll have to ask your father about that, but I'm sure Stephanie will do her duty when the time comes. Bless your innocence, but there are certain disgusting truths that go along with marriage. Facts that can't be disguised by sheets which wrap around the contours of flexing go-go's and bouncing legs. You can't know what I'm talking about, and that's best. When the time comes to make a baby with Stephanie, you'll have to make your peace with the fact that when a farmer plants his seed, he can't help but get some nasty dirt on his hoe. Stop speaking nonsense, dear. Stop speaking nonsense, dear. What a thing to say to your mother. Was that an invitation now that your father is out of action? Maybe later, dear. Right now I have housework to do. Though you can watch if you want. Don't forget to put the papers out for Jimmy. You know how he gets.
Hey, Steve, I'm Jimmy James. Remember me?
I guess not.
Hey, how come you haven't been putting the paper out for me in the morning? Yeah? Well, try to remember, will ya? How'd you expect a working Joe to make an honest living? You don't put the paper out, I'm out of a job.
So what? You don't get paid for picking up papers anyway.
The Sentinel building burnt down. What the heck else am I supposed to do? Listen, start putting that paper out and everything will be jake, okay? That's all I want. That and a pair of sneakers. Walking this route every day has worn holes in mine. Say, you got any spare sneakers? Oh, gee whiz. Look, if you find any, I'd be willing to trade you for them. Something really neato. Think about it. See you later, alligator. Hey, Steve, you've been doing a swell job putting the paper out in the morning. You just keep doing that and we won't have any problems. That's not much to ask, is it?
There he is, my future son-in-law. And how's he doing today? What brings him to the Potsdam household, huh? Huh? Oh, you'll have to ask the missus about that. Stephanie's grounded to the wedding. Can't have her changing her mind at the last minute, not with all that meat at stake. Meat is the foundation of any decent society. Everyone needs at least 3 servings of red meat a day, and anyone who says otherwise is a commie. And once you're married to Stephanie, I'll be part of the family too, and your father will give me all the meat I want. Kind of makes up for not getting into the lodge.
Why are you so anxious to get into the lodge?
There's wonders inside. I've heard there's more meat in there than they know what to do with. Now that you're of age, Steve, you might go down to the post office and fill out a lodge application. They're always looking for new blood. Meet as the found.
I haven't seen my father. He's locked in a room.
He's not going to die, is he?
Like I said, I don't know. That woman, Mom, tends to him herself.
Well, next time you see him, be sure to tell him that I said hello. And tell him that I'm praying for his speedy recovery. And also, would you remind him about the meat? Especially about the meat.
Yeah, fine. If I see him.
You should be more concerned. If he dies, then who's going to take over the slaughterhouse? Who's going to tend to the meat? I guess as his son, you'd take over. Right? I can't imagine a better job than working in a slaughterhouse. Bite your tongue with that serpent's tooth. Your dad's slaughterhouse is the most successful business in Harvest. You'll love it there. Oh, sure, cutting animals open may not be much fun. Reaching into their bodies and yanking out the bloody guts, intestines dangling and slapping against you, the smell of death and shit in your nostrils all the time. Well, those are all definite cons. But once you're done, the guts have been washed into the gutters. What are you left with? Meat. Rows and rows of scrumptious red meat.
I haven't...
He's...
Like I...
Well...
Yeah,
You should be... Stop mumbling, Steve. Stop mumbling, Steve. I can't under...
Hello, Steve. Have you flossed today? Honestly, you men can insult a woman without even knowing you've done it. What a horrible thing to say.
You're both standing around baking cookies. Same cut of dress. Same pearls. So bizarre.
There's nothing bizarre about baking cookies. The Harvest Charity Bake Sale is Friday, you know, and by gosh, Mrs. Marvin Potston Jr. can be counted on to do her share.
This charity bake sale, what is it supposed to benefit?
Oh, I just like talking about gruesome subjects. When you get right down to it, all charity is pretty ugly, isn't it?
I don't follow.
Ask Mr. Moynihan. He's organized this event. In conjunction with the lodge, naturally. Mr. Moynihan runs the Wayward Hotel and the Shady Oaks Funeral Parlor. It's rumored he has connections with the lodge, but the order keeps that kind of thing secret. So Mr. Potston has tried to get him to put in a good word for his lodge application, but so far...
What can you tell me about the lodge?
Just that they're exclusive and secretive. If you're curious, you ought to pick up a lodge application at the post office and take it over to the sergeant-at-arms. Isn't that a thought? Forget Mr. Potsdam. If you became a member of the order, we could hold the wedding inside the lodge. My, wouldn't that be lovely?
Tell me about this wedding.
Well, it's set for 3 weeks. We're holding it over at Shady Oaks, Mr. Moynihan's funeral parlor.
Say what?
Now, I know it's not a very romantic place, but there's nowhere else to hold it, thanks to Mr. Potsdam. Give my regards to your parents. Hello, dear. She's upstairs. Go right on up. Just remember, she's grounded until the wedding. Give my regards to your parents.
Who are you? What are you doing in my room?
Haven't you heard? We're getting married.
So, you're the one. Steve, isn't it?
You mean you don't know me?
I mean, I don't know anyone. I don't remember anything. How many times do I have to say it?
Just one, Stephanie, because I can't remember a damn thing either.
Really? Oh God, I thought it was just me.
You're not alone. Can you tell me what's going on here?
Those people downstairs have locked me in my room. They say I'm grounded until the wedding. They claim to be my parents. I can't dispute it because I can't remember for sure one way or the other, but it doesn't feel right. I believe you. Maybe some of these people believe you too. Maybe they're playing dumb.
Why?
Maybe they're responsible. Either way, something really weird is going on here. I've got to escape, and so do you. Because in a way, whether you know it or not, I think we're both grounded. It's been hell. They treat me well, but they won't let me leave this room. Not even to go out in the yard. Not until the wedding.
They won't tell you why?
Each one blames the other for grounding me. They make up different excuses. Different things I did, none of which I remember. So I sit up here, watch the world outside my window, and listen to the noises in the house. Every morning, a weird boy comes to the house and picks up the paper. He doesn't deliver the paper. He picks up scrap paper that Miss Potsdam sets out on the porch for him. Some mornings she forgets, and the boy gets furious. He gives me the creeps.
Anything else you can tell me?
I hear these weird scraping sounds in the bathroom sometimes. Like something is sliding along the wall. Claws, maybe. And Mr. Potsdam. I don't like the way my dear daddy looks at me. Both of them are always watching me. But especially him.
You don't think they're dangerous, do you?
I think this whole place is dangerous. I think we've got to escape. Before it's too late. Everything in Harvest seems to revolve around this damned lodge, this Order of the Harvest Moon. They're responsible for this insane bake sale that's coming, and for the Harvest Blood Drive, too. When people talk about the lodge, it's always in this hushed, reverent tone. Mom keeps telling me that women can't join, but she keeps pressuring me to get you to join.
She's not the only one who wants me to sign on with the lodge.
That's probably the worst thing you could do.
You think the lodge is some kind of trap?
I think all of Harvest is a trap.
If that's true, maybe joining the lodge is the way out.
Look, why not explore the town a little? I can't get out of here, but if I could, that's what I'd do. Maybe you can figure out what's happening here without going anywhere near the lodge.
You're really afraid of the lodge, aren't you?
I look at that building, all lit up at night, and I get scared.
I mean, look at the damn thing. Seem like a harmless bunch of Masons to you?
Escape?
Harvest is a prison, Steve. Don't forget that. Of course I'm right. Everything in...
She's not...
That's...
You think...
I think...
That...
Look.
You're...
Come back and visit me soon, okay?
Steve, how's your father? Is he better?
About the same, I guess.
He's been away from work for weeks, and when I call your house, your mother won't let me talk to him.
I haven't seen him either.
This is a fine kettle of fish, I must say, though I am glad to see you taking an interest in the business in your dad's absence.
Who are you?
Aw, Steve, I didn't want to believe that amnesia hokum. Now you're saying you don't remember your pal Pat O'Reilly?
Look, I'm not kidding about the amnesia. Why won't anyone believe me?
Well, you always were such a kidder, Steve.
I sure as hell don't feel like a kidder now.
What exactly is wrong with your dad?
I don't know.
I wouldn't worry about it too much, Steve. You should be thinking about running the family business one day. That, getting into the lodge. You may come to realize that this business is not for everybody. Just ask your poor, ill dad. It takes dedication and a strong stomach. A lot of times, when I'm finished scrubbing up and digging the bits of intestine out from my fingernails, I must confess I don't have much appetite for red meat. But red meat is one of the principal food groups, and you've got to have it. So when you can do this all day and help yourself to a juicy red steak afterwards, then by golly, you can call yourself a butcher. course, amnesia would certainly help that, wouldn't it?
Come to think of it, I don't see any cattle around here. Where do you keep the animals?
Does it matter? The end product is all the customer cares about, Steve. And we only carry the finest meat, only the juiciest cuts. Once you take over the business, you'll realize the importance of maintaining quality while cutting costs. We know what we're doing here, Steve. If we didn't, would the lodge use us to cater their affairs? Your father's very particular about the profit, Steve. No freebies for anyone. But seeing how you're his son, if you'll bring written permission from your father, I'll give you the meat. There are certain tricks of the trade, Steve. Once your dad gets better and you start working in here cutting up the meat, you'll be privy to them. There's always cheaper, better ways to do things, if you're creative. Don't read you, Steve. Don't be such a stranger, Steve. And my best to your dad.
Hi, what's your name?
Karen,
What are you doing?
playing. My mom is working, so I gotta stay out of her hair. Wanna play?
Not now, maybe later.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Oh, Steve, what are you doing, sneaking up on me like that? God, for a second I thought you were Mr. Johnson. What would you like to order? Sure. And my name's Edna Fitzpatrick. I'm not the one with amnesia.
Then you believe me.
Well, you always were a kidder, Steve.
I guess I've changed. I'm not kidding.
Now, Steve, faking amnesia won't help anything. If you don't want to marry Stephanie, then don't. But don't play sick, for heaven's sake. I'd expect that from Karen, not an 18-year-old. Mr. Johnson has a liking for me. I'd call it a crush, but that's too innocent a word. He's a bitter man with too much time on his hands. He's never gotten over being rejected by the lodge, and there's something unwholesome in the way he looks at me. I'm always glad when the sheriff comes in every day at noon. Sheriff Dwayne is such a dear man. And I don't just say that because he's my most regular customer. Every single day, rain or shine, he comes in here at noon for lunch. Sits in the same spot, too. That's at least an hour every day when I can be sure Mr. Johnson won't show up. You know, it's funny. Dwayne never comes in here with Deputy Loomis, but he frequently dines with Mr. McKnight. You know, the owner of the TV station. Sometimes he comes in with Postmaster Boyle, but somehow I don't think they're friends. Mr. McKnight owns the TV station WHAR. He seems to get along with Sheriff Dwayne better than Boyle does. Better than just about anyone, to tell the truth. I don't see the connection between them, but I'll bet you dollars to donuts that it's there anyhow. Though I see them together a lot, Boyle and the sheriff never act very friendly towards each other. Almost like there's some kind of bond between them besides friendship, though what it might be I can't imagine. Maybe Sheriff Dwayne resents the fact that he's never been able to get into the lodge. So that's not Boyle's fault. He just hands out the applications. He doesn't decide who gets admitted. The lodge is the repository of all wisdom. You should join the Order of the Harvest Moon, Steve. And soon.
Why? For God's sake, what is it about this place?
The wheat ripens and waits not for the scythe. The farmer who waits too long, it were better that he use the scythe to rip his own stomach out than to stay his scythe when the wheat ripens. The harvest moon wanes and then comes winter. An empty belly, the body sun's belly, gurgling within or bloody on the ground. What does it benefit a man if he gains his soul and loses the world? You hunger. Feed yourself before it's too late. Oh.
Edna?
Steve. What happened? Were we talking about Boyle? Or was it Karen?
You seemed strange there for a minute.
I'm sorry. I'm under a lot of stress. Running this diner all alone. Forgive me. You've met Karen, my 8-year-old. Other than the diner, she's all I have. Stop by anytime, Steve.
Can I help you, dear?
Who are you?
This is Phelps General Store, so who would that make me? Maybe you need to go back to Gein Memorial and have Miss Whaley teach you about logic.
I'm fuzzy on a lot of things these days. My memory's gone.
Pshaw, you always were a kidder, Steve.
I'm serious, I need some help.
Well, they say a sharp blow to the head is a good thing for amnesia, in which case I'd recommend Miss Whaley again. Then again, they say a good scare can jog the memory, in which case I'd advise you to visit the Sergeant at Arms over at the lodge. That man gives me the willies. Speaking of willies, how's your father?
Don't know. Haven't seen him.
Care to buy anything today? Just point to whatever you want. I'm a little hard of hearing. A girly magazine? Why, Steve, I'm surprised at you. I'd expect that sort of thing from Deputy Loomis, but never from you. He's always coming in here oogling the girly magazines behind my counter. Darned if I'd sell him one, though. I know his wife, for heaven's sakes.
Well, will you sell me one?
I certainly will, Steve. That kind of interest is healthy for a young fellow. Steers him away from being a fireman.
Hello, Steve. How's the husband-to-be?
Other than having no memory, I guess I'm all right.
All right? You should be ecstatic, considering what you're getting into, if you haven't gotten into it already. Speaking of which, I heard Stephanie was grounded. Her daddy's worried about getting his meat. Though if I were him, I'd be more concerned about Stephanie getting some meat.
Right. And you are?
You always were a kidder, Steve. I'm Mr. Johnson, remember? Glad you stopped by. Just got finished waxing the Tucker. I could use a little relaxation. But since Edna's not here, I might as well talk to you. Heck of an automobile, isn't she? Damn shame I have to sit out here and watch over her all the time. But if I didn't, those stupid kids might scratch her up playing ball. Hell yes, it's real. I wouldn't be so protective of her if she was just a reproduction. I'm mighty particular about my Tucker. I had the garage remodeled like a fortress, so I could lock her up at night and get some sleep.
I'm sure she's safe enough inside.
A few months back, someone broke into my house, trying to get into the garage. I had to gripe like hell before the sheriff agreed to start the evening patrols and instigate the curfew. Speaking of Stephanie, I still haven't gotten an invitation to the wedding yet.
I don't have anything to do with that.
That's okay. Personally, I'd prefer a pass to the honeymoon. You could use the back seat of my Tucker for the maiden voyage. It's plenty big, believe you me. I'd drive you around, and I wouldn't look in the back seat, I guarantee it. Though if you'd like to come up front and take the wheel a while, I wouldn't say nay. Edna Fitzpatrick is one of the snootiest women in town. I declare there isn't a woman in Harvest that'd turn me away. If I was interested, that is. Just because she owns DNAs, she's got all these highfalutin ideas about independence, and her with a little girl to raise. That child needs a father. And Edna, well, she needs a good hard penis.
What makes you so sure she needs a penis?
You saying Edna's getting it from someone else? Like maybe that damn Sheriff Dwayne? He's over at DNA's diner every day from noon to 1, eating his dadgum pie. And I got a feeling he'd like Edna for dessert. Sure, it's the only diner in town, but I'm sure he's got more on his mind than food. I'll admit DNA's diner does good business. But money isn't everything to a woman. Can money keep you warm at night? Can you wrap your thighs around it? Or rake bloody gashes in its back with your painted hollowed fingernails? Edna! Edna! So, how's Stephanie? Bye now.
Hello, Steve. Let me introduce myself. I'm Sheriff Dwayne, and this here's Loomis.
Pleasure, I reckon.
Then, we haven't met before?
Of course we have, but I heard about your alleged amnesia and figured I'd play along. I sure hope this is just a prank, and not the start of some insanity plea. Keep your nose clean, or you'll wind up in jail, and that's no place to hold a wedding. Why do you want to break your poor mama's heart with all this amnesia bunk?
I'm telling you the truth. Why won't anyone believe me?
Well, you've always been a kidder, Steve.
Yeah, so everybody keeps telling me.
Boy, you need to stop all this funning and get serious. You've got a wedding coming up soon. Heck, you should be thinking about your career and about joining the lodge. I don't mind telling you, I'd never get anything done if not for the lodge's efforts. To join the Order of the Harvest Moon is the highest dream of everyone in Harvest.
Like I said, unless you get an application on the first day of the month, you're generally out of luck. Stop by the post office and talk to Postmaster Boyle. You never know. He might have a spare application laying around. Amnesia or no, you can't have forgotten you're about to marry the prettiest little thing in Harvest. I think you and Stephanie are perfect for each other. I just hope her father's disappointment doesn't spoil everything.
Disappointment?
Mr. Potsdam wants to hold the wedding in the lodge, but he'll never get in. Like all the rest, he's always hanging around the post office the first day of the month, waiting for Boyle to bring out that month's lodge applications. And there's always a long line, never enough applications to go around, and even if you do get an application, chances are you're right out of luck. Fewer called to the order and even less accepted. And Potsdam, well, they've turned him down so many times, unless he does something radical, he'll never get in. Crime-wise, nothing much has happened in Harvest since the newspaper fire. Oh, sure, every week or so we get the odd transient dropping dead, but other than that, it gets pretty slow around here. We get a lot of bums, drifters passing through Harvest. Those people are never very healthy to start with. I figure they come to our fair town, look around, and decide it's a nice place to die.
You mean they drop dead here on a regular basis?
Like flies. I'd slap 'em all in jail if I could, but there's never enough room. Besides, they're pretty good about not sticking around long. Sure, it's a burden on Mr. Moynihan, though, having to bury them all. I only hope the PTA Lodge bake sale will help out along those lines. Oh, I forgot. You've got amnesia. Mr. Moynihan operates both the Wayward Hotel and the mortuary. Kind of a double burden for the poor man. Transients always wandering in and looking for a place to crash, then croaking.
Maybe it's not a coincidence.
You mean a crime? Oh, no. Moynihan's charity only extends so far. He won't check them in, but he'll sure check them out quick enough. He figures if they can't pay for the room, to hell with them. But if they can't pay for the burial, it's hell for us. What with the smell and all. I guess you can't say too much against Moynihan. What with him letting you hold the wedding in his mortuary chapel and all. Stop on by.
Anything I can help you with? Help yourself. Speaking of which, you're real lucky to be marrying Stephanie. She don't look like a good woman. I just hope she don't turn out like Mrs. Loomis, or mercy forbid Mrs. Phelps. Good women can be awful hard on a man's needs, don't you know? Why, you sure ought to appreciate what a man's got to do sometimes in a parked car, or a waist-high knothole in a tree, or jail cell at noon. Matter of fact, Mrs. Phelps got no reason not to sell you some of them French postcard girly picture books. If you can get any, you see clear to part with them. Bring 'em round when the sheriff's at lunch, and I'd be obliged. Mrs. Phelps down at the general store don't help things none. She's got them special picture books, the one with the ladies. But she won't sell me none on account of she knows my wife, Mrs. Loomis. Dadgum if that don't burn my britches. If I even ask about 'em, she tells Mrs. Loomis and I get the broom. Enough to break a man's heart, her burning my French postcards and me unable to replace them. A man's got needs, don't you know? course, I don't necessarily mean French postcards. That's just what we called them in my day. Any kind of girly picture book, the kind men like, would be just dandy. I'd be right grateful, kiddo, if you were to bring me one. Anytime, kiddo. Kiddo, you brought me any of them girly picture books?
No, sorry.
Oh, heck. Why should you be any different from the sheriff or Mrs. Loomis? Steve, I'd be right obliged if you could just see clear to bringing me just one of them books. Believe me, it'll be worth your time to do it. Anytime, kiddo. Oh, by George. Oh, by Jiminy. Oh, this here's the real thing. Oh, can I have it? Oh, thank you, Steve. Excuse me, kiddo. I gotta go check the jail for clean towels.
Hello, Steve. Where's Loomis?
You'll be coming around the mountain if you come. Oh, that's it.
Loomis, damn you!
Wait, no.
You pervert!
No!
Banging up the mattress again! Folding up the towels! Charming snake!
No!
Well, that didn't work.
Yes?
I need some help. Mr.
Postmaster Boyle, what can I do for you today? Sorry, youngster, we're out of applications right now.
Come on, you must have one around here somewhere.
Well, I do have the master, but you can't write on that, and I only make copies once a month, on the button, regular as clockwork. It's not the effort, son. It's the principle. We must adhere to our standards. They're all that stand between civilization and chaos. I'm sorry, you'll just have to come back in a month, same as anyone else. And even then, I can't guarantee you'll get an application. The line is always long, and there are never enough to go around.
It's very important that I get in quickly.
That's what they all say. Postmaster Boyle, I'll just die if I don't get into the lodge. I can't make an exception, young man. It just wouldn't be right. Next time you post, don't forget the zip code. What does this mean? This is unexpected and awkward. But my luck's been bad ever since Dwayne found that darn gas can at the newspaper building the day after the fire. He has this insane notion that it's mine. I pay him not because I'm guilty, but because I don't want him slurring my good name around Harvest.
Oh, naturally.
You know, he keeps that gas can in the evidence room at his office. I'd be really grateful to whoever could fetch me that can. Grateful enough to provide him with a lodge application. Oh, and Steve, you'll keep this to yourself, if you're smart. Oh my God, I can't believe it. After all this time.
Where's my application, Boyle?
Here, take it, with my thanks. You know, this morning as I was making my rounds, I noticed an awful lot of television aerials on the roofs. Seems like more and more each day. You got me this can just in time, youngster. I may have need of it again.
What do you mean?
There's another reason why Sheriff Dwayne didn't investigate the Sentinel fire. If you'd like to get something else on the blackmailing bastard, check around the television station. While you still can.
That's a ticket.
I see you've managed to acquire an application. That demonstrates resourcefulness, a desirable trait for prospective members. You need a rest. Report back here for your next assignment.
What do you want, Steve? I hear him at night, thrashing and moaning. I crawl out my window and see Mom's shadow on the shade, pot holders on her hands, reaching for him. How can she do the stitches on him wearing those? Wouldn't she slip?
Don't be silly. She wouldn't do that. Of course she'd slip.
Maybe that's why he's not getting better. Good. Finally. There now, see how easy it is? Things are so much better between us when you remember the paper in the morning. And let's keep him that way. Swell! Here's the keys to the broom closet at Gein Memorial. That's where they meet every day. About 3:45, as soon as everyone has gone home. Sometimes I hide in there beforehand. And Daddy-o, I see some stuff that's real nasty. Take it from me, you made a good swap.
Huh? What? Screwing in the school broom closet? What will people think?
Are you blackmailing us, you little shit?
Calm down, Mr. Harrell. Stephen would never do that. He's a smiley bear. But we should give him a token of our appreciation for his silence. Here, Stephen, take this baseball bat. You'll find it quite useful.
That boy. Take the bat, and we'll take the photo.
However will I keep the children in line now?
I have a spare I can bring in tomorrow, unless you'd prefer a chainsaw this time.
I'll talk to Mrs. Phelps.
I take it you wish to be initiated into the mysteries of the Order of the Harvest Moon. Very well. Know then that securing the application was but the first step on your road to enlightenment. Now you must complete a series of tasks to prove your worthiness as an initiate.
What kind of tasks?
Minor pranks, really. Nothing overly difficult. More tests of wit than prowess. But to complete them you must, if you wish to enter these walls.
Minor prank, eh? I'll bet. What have you got in mind?
There is in Harvest a man named Mr. Johnson. He owns a tucker. It is his pride and joy. I should like you to put a scratch in it.
A scratch? That's all?
As I said, a minor prank. Mind you, you are not to damage the vehicle. Merely put a single scratch in it. Once you have done so, return here, and I shall give you your next task.
Steve, good of you to drop by, big guy. Haven't seen you since graduation. A lot of changes, I hear.
You could say that.
Good, good. That's a nice part of my job. Turning fine young men and women out into the world, and then watching them prosper. Of course, I was able to reach more people at the old Sentinel, God bless her. But then again, I never got to see the results of my work up close before.
Who are you?
You know very well I'm Mr. Harrell, the principal of Gain Memorial. Steve, I've heard about this amnesia nonsense. I had hoped you'd be in the lodge by now, fine young fellow like yourself. But now, I think maybe you need a little more quality time.
What do you mean, quality time?
Some, like Miss Whaley, favor stern discipline, corporal punishment, as a means of socialization. Myself, I temper discipline with love. Quality time can be such a warm, sharing experience. After just a few sessions, you'd stop this amnesia nonsense and become a productive member of society and a fit candidate for the lodge. Big guy, borrowing some quality time, the greatest gift I can bestow upon you as your former principal is a word of advice. Join the Order of the Harvest Moon at any cost. Within the lodge lies your future, and without dust.
Why do you keep calling me big guy?
A sign of respect, lad. As principal, my station is higher than yours now, but you never know what the future holds, so you should always hedge your bets and pay tribute to your inferiors. You never know who will come to power, or who, even now, wields it behind the scenes. For all I know, you might already be a member of the Order, with access to the lodge. If that were the case, you'd be my superior, and I'd be all that much better off having shown you respect and spent some quality time with you. Surely mine is the most important position in Harvest. The ability to mold young minds. That's power. You might think Sheriff Dwayne's the most important man here, big guy, but he only deals with my failures. When I do my job right, the sheriff never sees a thing. Drop in again soon. Adult education is a wonderful thing, as is adult quality time.
My goodness, class, this is Stephen. He used to be a student here at Gein Memorial. Say hello, class. They're reticent. The educator's gravest problem today is the apathy of the students.
What's wrong with their heads?
I can tell you in one word, Stephen. Discipline. Thank goodness you weren't a sulky bear. You were always a smiley bear.
Then, you remember me?
Not as such. So many pupils, Stephen. They come and they go. But I can always spot those who were nice boys. You can tell from the forehead. The lobes. Right, class? I'm glad you stopped by, Stephen. Would you care to say a few words to the class about civic responsibility?
Not really. I was just passing through.
Oh, but you must, Stephen. A positive role model might be just the thing to inspire these little monsters. Stephen, have you any questions for me? Or shall I continue with class? Very well, then. Stephen, we don't practice corporal punishment here. I've never believed in that old adage, spare the rod and spoil the child. A rod is too thin, but a baseball bat? That bridges the generation gap quite nicely. Oh dear, Colonel Monroe is conducting another air raid drill. Everyone into the hallway, quick!
If an A-bomb hits, what good is it gonna do to duck and cover?
My stars, that was exciting. Stop by any time, Stephen.
Damn it! Did it! What are you doing here at this hour, Mr. Potsdam?
I'm burying our cat. She passed away and I'm burying her. Go away and mind your own business.
Then, where's the cat?
I left her at home. Now leave me alone!
So, you have completed your first task. Now that you've scratched the tucker, you may proceed to your second task. You will steal a bolt of fabric from the fireman and bring it to me. The human mind always seeks to categorize phenomena, to pigeonhole, and therefore feel that it exerts control over an unfathomable universe. A feeling, however, is not a fact. Whatever you may think of the order is only speculation, a realization which should give you scant comfort, considering that even memory is illusory, a chemical imprint on meat that, like what it is writ upon, must one day decay. If you're interested in reviving the decaying corpse that is your memory, you'll be back. The only answer for you is here, Stephen. Don't forget that.
Welcome to our order.
The hand that grips the life of the stab.